Okay. All right, guys. It's I'm back. It's been quite a eventful first 2 days of the new year. Happy New Year's to everybody. Not starting off good. Prayers, sympathy goes out to all the people that have been killed in senseless attacks by psychopaths. I was up. Up at the time that the first reports of the truck attack or truck assault or terrorist attack or whatever you want to call it was happening in New Orleans. And, my first instinct was to jump on social media and, start reporting what I knew. But the reality was that I didn't know anything other than what was being told in the media. And that's typically it's not trustworthy or believable. A few hours later, I think it's the governor of Louisiana and the local, I guess, FBI field agent in charge addressed the public and started offering some limited information about who this guy was. Apparently, he was a retired U.S. Army or military experience of some sort, and had started to convert to ISIS about a year ago, and this is information that has come to light later on, but was a convert, a lone wolf. He's an American citizen. A crazy, whatever, Muslim name. His name wasn't like Tom Jones. It was like Jabbar or whatever. But this guy, his conversion to Islamic State happened about a year ago, and it wasn't a secret. The new boyfriend of his ex-wife started saying that he was like going crazy. He was acting weird. And definitely he was on the FBI's radar, like they all are. And that's the thing that's if there's any like reoccurring theme or pattern, it's always that these attackers were known to our federal law enforcement agencies, and nothing was done to stop them. The FBI agent at the time. Now this guy drives his truck at a high rate of speed into a crowd of people, killing, I think the latest number I heard is 14 or 15, and hospitalizing just a bunch of other people. He gets out of his car. Apparently he's wearing some sort of chest harness or plate carrier or something, and he gets into a gunfight with law enforcement. He injures them, they kill him. That's the good news. He's not going to be a burden to the taxpayers any further. So there's going to be no multi-million-dollar trial trying to prove that, he wasn't insane or whatever. Just, he got smoked, and end of story as far as for supporting this scumbag in any way, shape, or form. But nevertheless, he gets out, he gets into a gunfight, and he's killed, and the truck apparently it was flying a big black ISIS flag off the back. A truck that was rented in Mexico and just recently driven across the border. In his truck was more weapons, I think some IEDs, improvised explosive devices, and it doesn't take a rocket surgeon to know that, or to assume that this guy is a Islamic fundamentalist, Islamic extremist, an Islamist, a terrorist, right? But the FBI agent in charge made a point of telling the public that this was not a terrorist attack. Instead, it was an IED investigation, which was about the most insulting thing anybody could say. No, well, not anybody, the FBI. Because let's face it, the FBI has become so illegitimate and so untrustworthy, whether it's knowing that the Hunter Biden laptop was real and still reaching out to Facebook and Twitter and having them try to suppress the story before the election. So, like, going out of their way to, like, pump false information. We still don't know jack shit about Thomas Crooks, who tried to assassinate President Trump. We don't know jack shit about the little transgender chick who thought she was a boy, wearing the hat backwards, who attacked a preschool. And when that one was, like, too hardened, she went to another Christian school that was, like, had less defensive measures applied to it, and she killed one or two people before the cops got there and smoked her too. Thank God. But whenever it's an LGBTQ, Islamic State, any of the terrorist groups that come from, like, these protected minority groups, we never get the information, we never get the right story. But the second the guy, like, and the recent shooter, the recent the truck attack in New Orleans, he, like Thomas Crooks, was also a campaign donor or a political donor to the left's Act Blue. So there's a connection to radical leftism once again. And so, the FBI tells us that it's not terrorism related. And then, in the same press conference, the governor tells us that there are people that they're out looking for, bad people that they're looking for. And, it's just insulting that, we continue to see things with our own eyes, and the FBI, because they're so politicized and they're so worried about the optics and they're so worried about offending the wrong group, that they just can't even, let's face it, they were more afraid about offending a radical Islamist terrorist who's dead than they were in telling the American people the truth about who he was. They rolled up the ISIS flag as quickly as they could. They made it sound like this guy was just, in the press conference, they made sure that we knew that it wasn't alcohol related. So we knew it wasn't like an accident or something that didn't have, like, a motive behind it. But then she refused to say it wasn't being investigated as a terror attack, but it was being investigated for its IED, or, like, as an IED event. What does that even mean? That's the dumbest thing ever. And not to mention, this FBI in charge had a nose ring. And, like, trust me, I'm not, like, one to judge people on how they decorate their bodies. I'm covered in tattoos. I've had piercings. I've done all the dumb shit. But, like, when you're an FBI special agent who's, like, talking in front of billions of people, let's face it, this is an international story and it's broadcast all over the world, and you come out and you look like you're, going to, like, like you're going to a rave. It's so dumb, dude. It's like, take the nose ring out, put on a suit, and just quit trying to act like so just cool or unique or diverse. You know, you don't have to be diverse in everything you do. You don't have to look like you're, you know, the liberal of the year in everything that you wear. You can look conservative while you're at work, reporting on the deaths of 15 Americans and trying to brush the Islamic terrorism nexus under the rug. But nevertheless, you know, I mean, and let's face it. I mean, let's the reality is that the FBI is knows about all these things, but just can't somehow seem to stop each and every one of these things, because for the last 4 years they've redirected all of their resources and all of their personnel into investigating, into looking under every rock, looking behind every bush for every, you know, 75-year-old grandmother who went to the Capitol on January 3rd back in 2000, and walked through the Capitol. They have been so focused on trying to prove that right-wing, white supremacist inspired extremism is the most dangerous form of extremism that there is, right? But we just know that's dumb. Everybody knows that's dumb. Even liberals know that's dumb.
This is Berea, Johannesburg, October 20.
So anyway, that's my thoughts. I'm gonna not say much more on that until more information has come out, because everybody reports on the same thing. You know, it's all who was this guy? You know, I mean, the interesting part is the dude who blew up the Tesla in front of Trump Tower or Trump Hotel, whatever it is, in Las Vegas. They do have a lot of very sort of suspicious similarities between the two, like both serving in Afghanistan at the same time, both being active duty at the same time, both serving out of Fort Bragg at the same time. And, you know, I've recently, you know, I just heard in the past hour or so that the dude who bombed or blew up the Tesla truck, he was a Trump supporter. So you just know, we're going to know everything we're going to know what color underwear this dude wore. We're going to know who his third grade girlfriend was. And we're going to know what, you know, what his ACT scores were. We're going to know every place he went to school, every job he's ever had. But the other guy who was a donor to Act Blue and a liberal, he's going to somehow remain super unknown. They're not going to be able to get into his phone. You know, the other guy's phone they'll be into and have everything he's ever done, every post he's ever made on Twitter. We'll know everything about that dude, right? Because he helps, you know, push the narrative of the dangerous, you know, white supremacist, white, you know, insurrectionist, racist inspired, whatever. So that's all I'm really going to say on that. There is one thing that I was thinking about, and then I'm going to get off this. And this is just a theory, or not even a theory, but it's just a thought. Do you guys remember back in 2015 when Islamic State had hacked into CENTCOM's website and had posted, and it stayed up for a couple hours, saying that they got the names and the addresses of current active duty U.S. military personnel, and that they were going to come after them and their families and whatnot. And when both of these dudes who attacked on the same day using the same rental car company, both using electric trucks, both serving at the same time in Afghanistan, when I heard all these similarities, I'm like, damn, it sounds like there's like some shadow figure that's like forcing these guys to do this. I mean, they both died in the attack, so they didn't make it out to be interrogated. And I just wonder, because, in 2019, a couple years later after that, I had read some reports about, like, U.S. military dudes being caught smuggling for the cartel and saying that there were, like, some extortion, there was some sort of, like, trail to some extortion plot or whatever. So, I mean, that's just a theory. And it could be absolutely nonsense, but it just is, to me it seemed like there are no coincidences these days, it seems. And we have U.S. military attacking on the same day. I just thought that just sort of brought that out of my my memory for whatever reason. So anyway, that's what's going on in the world. A bunch of other stuff, but I'm not really I basically will like give my opinions on a couple things that are like prominent in the news. I don't really like to report the news, but I like to see how things start to like turn out, and then give my opinion on them, and really call out the hypocrisy that I usually see. That will inevitably just show favoritism to liberal leftism ideology, and will always like target and pursue anybody that's from the right. It will be a much just more thorough investigation, punishment, much more knowledge on everything, what's going on. But anyway, okay, so that's that. As far as today, I'm going to go over basic tactical gear, plate carrier that I have, just for anybody who's looking to build out a plate carrier or chest rig, and a warfighter's belt. I'm going to go through what I bought. Everything that I've bought, I tried to do right the first time, so that I'm not like constantly upgrading shit. So and I do a lot of research too. So I YouTube has been very helpful in me learning about what companies are make the quality products, what companies are American made, what companies have government contracts. That if it's got a government contract with the U.S. military, it's most likely going to have been battle tested and have proved itself in war, and there's no better proving ground than that. So the other thing too is there's another gun tuber, another dude on YouTube who had talked about challenging people with gun channels. They call them gun tubers within the sort of the community, which just sounds like gay to me, but that's what they're called. He had challenged the community of the content creators or whatever to do more than just do videos of product review videos, or gun slot videos that are just about running around and making stupid just content, that has no real educational purpose. It shows no real growth as far as training and becoming a better shooter, which is the whole point of all of this, is to encourage training, encourage proper gun handling techniques, gun safety for people who are learning, and to basically promote a positive example of what's going on. So with my current situation, coming off of back surgery and being in a position where I've had, I'll just show you because I keep talking about it and it's better just to bring it up and get it out there. I had, back when I turned 40, about 12 years ago, I had a herniated disc. It happened at work, and I had injured my back twice before in car accidents and skateboarding injuries in my 20s. And, like when you're that young, you just get up, you shake it off. You might have to take a break for a day or two. But on the week I turned 40, I had a herniated disc at work, and it took about a year to heal. At the time, I was going to have a surgery to fix it, but I was told, because I was making slight progress, that surgery was the last option, and that to try to heal yourself with physical therapy, even doing trigger point injections or what are they called? Steroid injections. I can't think of it. And so I healed that way, and I avoided surgery. And 10 years went by, and right before I turned 50, my back went out. And it just went out just out of nowhere. I didn't do anything weird. I just felt all of a sudden my back really hurting. Turned out that I had something called spinal stenosis, which means that once the disc is ruptured, it never really sort of heals. It has weak spots where it sort of fuses back together, and eventually those discs just wear out, and they're unable to hold spinal fluid, but synovial fluid is what it's called, and the vertebrae can literally collapse on themselves, and your spine can get all janky. So when that happened, I had surgery, and I had a surgery that's called spinal fusion surgery. And what that is it's where they put in artificial discs, and then they put in artificial discs, and then they fuse the vertebrae together. So I had a surgery that was called a fusion of L3, stands for lumbar, 3 through L5, right? Let's see if we can get this to... And so the bottom one here is 5, and this one up here is 4, and this one is 3. And so these 3 are fused together like that, except these bars and the let's see. So that's what I have in my back, and that would be this right here would be the artificial disc, and that's how they fuse a spine together, right? Or vertebrae together. Oh wait, that was me during surgery, or that was me actually getting post-surgery, having when they would do different checkups, make sure everything was cool. Oh God, I keep doing it wrong. Me again. And that's just, just shows you skateboarding is a pretty violent sport or activity, and you can hurt yourself. So I show you that just because when I had my surgery, I was told by the neurologist on the week of the surgery, they give you a pre-op sort of list where you have to have an EKG, you have to have blood work, you have to do a bunch of things to make sure that you can handle surgery. And when I had my surgery, my neurologist told me that the average person who has spinal fusion surgery has between 4 or 5 or 6 surgeries total. And that the first initial surgery is to fuse the spine, and then you let it heal. And because there's so many nerves in that part of the body, and so many nerves branch off of the spinal cord and then go down to your extremities, and they branch into smaller and smaller nerve bundles and whatnot. But like when I came out of surgery, I could not move my legs. I thought I couldn't move my legs. All I could do was barely move my left toe, my left big toe like that. And when I did that, I was like, okay, cool, I'm not paralyzed. I'll be able to walk again. And I spent the next 6 weeks in a skilled nursing facility in Scottsdale and did daily occupational and learning how to walk using like balls, and I'd put my one foot up on it and do balancing. It was crazy learning how to walk again, but I would do that for an hour a day, and then I would go back and work in the physical therapy weight room, doing everything I could to like, not lose muscle, because that's one of my, like, growing up in my late teens, 20s, and 30s, I was one of those like gym rats where you worked out 2 hours a day for 7 days a week, and very obsessive lifestyle, probably not healthy. I now know that like I could have done 30 minutes of exercise, basically using body weight and doing push-ups and doing squats, not needing really weight of any sort, and maintain the same size that I was, which was back at that time, it was like I was 6'2". I think I've shrunk a little bit having this spine surgery, and 215 and just solid muscle. Not that I'm trying to sound like cool or anything, but that was how my body was, how it responded to the lifestyle that I had, which was, a pretty healthy lifestyle, minus the drugs and alcohol, which eventually took me out of the gym for about 5-6 years and almost had me in prison for several decades. Nevertheless, so I had my surgery. It took about 6 weeks for me to heal, or not to heal, but before I could walk. And when I was told by my neurologist that the average person has between 5 and 6 surgeries, it basically was that you have your initial surgery, you heal, and then you do sort of an assessment, looking at like how you are. If you have phantom pains in your hands or feet or your legs, if you have like drop foot, if you have partial paralysis or numbness in any of your arms or legs, like nerve pain and nerve damage is the weirdest thing, because you can literally go from being like perfectly pain-free 1 minute to making it feel like your foot or your big toe or your ankle is is boiling in a pot of like boiling water. I mean, it's the wildest shit. But that was the whole thing. Is like I was told that it's going to take several surgeries before you're back to normal, before you have your range of mobility, before you're able to lift the same weights. And to be honest with you, I've had the initial surgery, and that's it. And I got back to the point where I could walk well enough, that going back and doing doctor's appointments and getting ready for a surgery and going back under. Now, these surgeries are like relatively non-invasive, and they don't take a long time to heal from. A lot of them are like using microscopic surgical tools and cameras that they can insert into little cuts they put in between your ribs and shit. And they take like a day or two. Most of them are outpatient, so you come in and you leave the hospital the same day. And they do things like, cut out scar tissue that might be like pressing against a nerve, or they do something to some tissue that's like pressing against nerves over here, or, there's just a whole bunch of different things that when it comes to nerve pain, it's a lot like mental health. Like, it's a process of trial and error in trying to figure out a way to treat it, right? So you have a prescription or you have a surgery, you let yourself sort of adapt to that prescription or that surgery, you heal from it, and then you sort of reevaluate. And then if there's problems, you go back in and you do it again. You might have another MRI and my story is that I just have not went back in, and I probably should. I would like to get. I've mentioned that I've never skateboarded again since, which has been tough because that was just something that like I grew up doing, and I've done my whole life. And I was up until I wasn't 50 years old. I did it every day, and was I would skate to the light rail, and then take the light rail to about a mile from where I would work, and then work all day. And I mean, some of the times I'd get a ride home, but I had a car at home, and I chose to do that because I was living in downtown Phoenix, and there were like just like even the concrete, or not the concrete, but even the asphalt was like absolutely smooth. That perfect asphalt that it seems like you're on like just like very nice polished concrete. All the joints between the concrete blocks are like so minute that you don't feel them, like no big cracks that your wheels are getting caught in or whatnot. And so the skateboarding was just epic, and I would love to just skate for like 20 minutes every morning just to get my blood flowing and just to wake up. And I did that I did that my entire life. Is all through college I was skateboarding. And when I had my surgery, standing back on a skateboard has not been something that I feel comfortable doing because I still feel like sort of shaky. I walk with a slight limp. And, for about the first year, I was almost embarrassed to even be around people because I've just grown up being a different person. I'm not used to this body that I'm in. And I feel, almost like handicapped. I guess in some way I am, but then also I'm like, I hate hospitals, and I hate having to like go back in and then do a surgery that would keep me bedridden, even if for a couple days, in order to make progress healing the other way. And that's the other thing with spinal surgeries is there's never any guarantees. Like you can go in for a surgery, and if it's around your spine, there are people who have lost the use of their legs because of accidents that have happened or surgical plans that just went wrong, that have become paralyzed. I knew a friend of mine whose uncle went in for a spinal surgery of some sort and walked out and was in a wheelchair for the rest of his life until he died. And just absolutely would suck. And so I would say that I probably would consider myself at like about 80%. Or no, I would say 85%, and I would say that I have the potential of probably getting back to 97%. So I could almost get back. I could definitely get enough mobility back again where I could skate. I don't think I could ever skate like swimming pools again or like vert where I would need padding, but like definitely could skate in the street, popping little ollies off curbs, having fun, doing little kick flips and shit that the OGs do, where we're not worrying about like breaking bones and stuff. So, but that's where I'm at. And so jumping back to talking about the challenge and being on YouTube and being somebody who, shows guns off and talks about gun builds and does sort of videos where, and I'm going to be going to the range here soon with a couple friends of mine. We're going to be testing out my suppressors on my spear. I've shown this gun off several times. On my spear LT, it's a Surefire SB or SOCOM SB2 556 suppressor. The bore alignment is absolutely perfect. It's mounted to a So Surefire SOCOM 3-prong flash hider. And because it's a SIG fluted barrel, I have the SIG taper collar that I had to put on. It's a Knight's Armament collar that puts, you put it on the fluting, sort of the angle of the barrel, and it provides like a flat that the bolts can go up against. And then I timed it using all the shims and the timing wheel that are in the Surefire flash hider packaging. So that's sort of the physical limitations I'm dealing with. But the challenge was, if you watch YouTube shooting videos and this sort of content, spend 15 minutes a day dry firing. Drawing your pistol from your holster, starting out, drawing your pistol from your holster, presenting it out, right? Shooting it, pulling it back, reholstering. Obviously, after you fire you shoot, you fire your last shot, drop your mag, clear it, make sure there's no bullet in the chamber, and re-rack it or reholster it. So, let's see here. So that's for people who watch content. For myself, and the challenge from Trench Grenade, his name is, he's a active duty drill sergeant. I think in the Midwest somewhere, maybe Florida, I don't know. He said that we should all try to compete in U.S. or nationally sanctioned, maybe USCCA or GOA competitions, right? When I was in grade school, I have mentioned my dad was a big gun collector. I received a marksman's merit badge in Boy Scouts from shooting and being like very dedicated to like target shooting, and competed in shotgun events, like where I would shoot like skeet, where you have those little orange like ceramic, not even ceramic, but they're like little clay pigeons, is what they're called. And they get flung out and they mimic like a bird, and you just sort of train your, you say pull and one comes out, and you use your peripheral vision, and then you just track it up and shoot it. And for whatever reason, as a kid, I was really good at doing that. And I would run some, I would enter into these competitions for kids. I think it was like in 12 and under, and I would win. I would win ribbons. I have ribbons around here somewhere from being like a skeet shooting champion under 12 or whatnot. But I would like to enter into, I want to try to, how would I say this, honor Trench Grenade Challenge. I'd like to shoot in one competition a month. That would be 12 for the year. But again, I don't know. The other thing too is I'm a caretaker for two parents. So when I'm able to get away, it's usually last second, I know, because I can have somebody come and fill in for me, like my brother, who he and his wife will come over and they'll, watch my parents for however long I need. But I don't like to do it a lot to them because they have a life, and so for me, I just like can get away sort of last second. It's hard to have somebody ask somebody to come fill in to watch people weeks in advance. But nevertheless, this is something that it's not an excuse. I can get around this. I can figure it out. I live 45 minutes. I live dab smack in the middle of Central Phoenix. So like getting to even like Ben Avery's, it's like a 45-minute drive one way. But that's an excuse. Like I can't find it. These are all challenges. Trust me. My back, being a full-time caregiver for two parents in their mid-80s, and being far away from federal land that's managed by the Bureau of Land Management, where it's illegal to shoot guns in the outside, in public. So that's what I'm going to set my goals on. If I'm unable to shoot in competitions every month, I will definitely be getting to the range at least twice a month. And that's going to be, it might be like a last second thing, like, hey dude, can you come over and watch them while I go be gone for about 3 or 4 hours, and then I can go get some shooting in. I do a lot of dry firing at home, so I have all the muscle memory down. I have the, I understand what it means when you say like staying target centered or target focused as opposed to dot focused. You never look at your gun and then track it to the target, right? What you do is you stare at the target. Where's the camera? Stare at the target, and then you bring your weapon up to the target, and sort of passively looking through your window on your dot. And as you bring this into the line of sight, you'll see your red dot get painted right on the target, and that's when you fire your weapon. Boom, right? And so what you want to do, again, is you always want to stay focused ahead. You never want to break your focus with the threat, with the target. And so you want to have a lot of muscle memory. You want to know where your weapon is, the angle that you're drawing out of your holster from. And when you bring it up, you have to work on your grip. There's a lot of different things. But when you come in, you are bringing your weapon straight up into, boom, the line of sight that connects your eyes to your target, and you're just passively bringing your red dot into it. You're not looking at your red dot and then trying to find a target out there in the wilderness. You know what I mean? You're focused on your target, and now you're bringing your weapon up into it. If you can do that, you can definitely get accurate shooting in under a second per shot. This is what the pistol I'll be using most likely is a Staccato P X series. It's got the DLC Diamond Light Carbide blackened. It's a treatment for metal. I don't know if you can see what it kind of looks like, but it's almost like a stained metal. Right? Instead of that brushed chrome. I just like the all black. Look, I put some Ranger Wrap Cordura 500 on the Acro P2 closed emitter red dot. I like closed emitters because I don't like the idea of an emitter, a laser emitter, being clogged up with a lint or peach fuzz coming out of my holster, or some sort of dirt or whatever. So I put that. It's also on the light, and it gets rid of all the branding, all that Surefire branding, all the nonsense, the writing, just keeping it nice and blacked out. And this is the pistol that I'll be using in competitions. It's the Staccato P. Now this is the X series, so it's got the additional slide cuts. Does a little bit of, minimizing weight, will help, a little bit with recoil and muzzle rise, but it helps mitigate a little bit of heat off the barrel. Obviously you have a few little vents, but not a whole lot. When it comes down to it's like the real benefit is it just looks cool, but it does help keep you on target better, because the less weight you have traveling up here, the easier it is to stay on, or to keep your pistol done, like this. If you have a whole lot of weight, like reciprocating back and forth, it can start to pull your gun up. But if you have your arms in a, slightly crooked elbows, locked shoulders, unless you're like, 5 pounds, you should be able to manage a pistol. It's not that big of a deal, especially a bigger pistol like this, as opposed to like a little mini micro compact that are just boom, like a little, stick of dynamite going off in your hand. So this is the pistol. It's I think it's a service weapon for 1,700 law enforcement agencies across the country, including like the LAPD, the Houston SWAT, I want to say the immigration tactical team. Like, so if you're dealing with like a drop house full of illegal immigrants and drugs and whatnot, they don't just send like, their typical agent to the door and, hey, are you guys here illegally? Can I see your ID? They send like the full-on tactical team. Like think of Sicario 1, the opening scene in Sicario 1. So that's it. This is the pistol I'll use. It's one of probably the best pistol option that I can choose. I could use actually I could use a couple of these. Who am I kidding? I could use the Sig Sauer P226. It's got a lot of cuts. It's got an Trijicon SRO. It's got these G10 grips. These are great grips. It's got a super buttery slide as well. I really like these guns too, because they have a decocking button, which was like this was a condition that the U.S. military special operations needed on a pistol that they were going to give their special forces dudes, right? They needed a decocking device, because a lot of times when you're trying to decock this lever, right, what will happen is if it gets away from you, it can literally fire your gun. And so by the decocking device, watch that trigger, right? I hit this thing right there, and it just decocks it without, shooting your gun. And so, you if you carry a loaded pistol, right, in a holster, and then you get to, let's say you're walking in a police station where you have to you can't have your gun. Well, you have to either take your holster off your belt or take your gun out of your holster. And if you have to take the gun out of your holster, you don't want to have a cocked gun that the only thing that could possibly, where that's the only thing that has to happen for somebody to get killed, right? So you want to be able to just decock it. This is it. It's hard to see with the sort of the back. I'm looking at everything in reverse on this damn deal. Okay, so I could use this. This would be not a bad second idea, or like not a bad runner-up gun to shoot, right? A SIG P226. This is called the Pro Cut. This is a steel frame as well. So both of these guns have steel frames. Unlike, well, actually, even the Zev OZ9 has a steel frame. So I'm gonna go with the Staccato. Houston, I'm thinking of the agencies that are still or that issue this: Dallas, Houston, Miami-Dade, SWAT. I think the Miami Police Department. It's a pretty expensive gun. It's like about the pistol right there without the optics, without the Acro P2 red dot or the light, was I think a $3,000. So it's a pretty, considering your average Glock is like 600-700. So or I could use this. This is not a bad idea too. This is a striker fired pistol that is, doesn't have a hammer on the back, right? And doesn't have a safety per se. The safety is in not cocking it back until you're ready to fire, right? Or you can cock it back, watch. Right? And then you get the trigger that falls forward, and now you know it's hot. Only way to get rid of that would be to fire it. Now, if I had a gun in it, which means the bullet would have been in the chamber, what I would have had to do is, drop the magazine so that it has no chance of being fed another bullet once the other one's out. And then there would be a bullet in the chamber, and I would do that. The bullet would hit the extractor and jump out of the gun. And then I would look right in here, and I would make sure that there was no bullet right in there where that little gold is. And then once I know it's clear, and I would also look down where the magazine goes. And so now that would be a cleared gun that's safe. And then I would dry fire it, pointing it away from people into the dirt, just to make sure that it's also not cocked or loaded. Even though it's not loaded, but it's not. And so I'd do this. Right? And so now the trigger is back, right? It doesn't matter if you put in a full magazine with 21 bullets, right? I can put this in, and this still be absolutely safe. It will not shoot a bullet, right? I can put it in I gotta get a background where you can see the trigger. I can put it in, that trigger stays back, right? So I can push on this all day long. Yeah, but until I do this and I pull it back, and it strips a bullet off the top of the magazine and then pushes it up the ramp into the barrel, into the chamber, and then I let it go, and it would slide a bullet into the chamber, right? And now this gun is hot, the trigger's forward, and the only thing that would separate me from shooting a bullet was pulling the trigger and shooting, right? So what I would want to do, again, this is a striker-fired Glock-style pistol. It's probably one of the most popular, most used guns in the world right now. Is, you come across a gun like this, and you see the trigger like this. First thing you do, drop the magazine, make sure that that's out. Now, if you do that and you see that there's no bullets in there, that doesn't mean that there's no bullets in the gun, because what could have happened is you could have shot, all but the last bullet, and then after the last shot, the slide reciprocates back, kicks out the empty shell, and then strips the last bullet in the magazine and puts it into the chamber. And then when and then let's say the person put it down on the ground, or put it down on the whatever table or whatnot, and walked away from it unattended, you would then walk up to it, and you would want to make sure that not only is it cleared, but that it's safe, right? So you pick it up, drop the magazine. There's nothing in there, but we still doesn't mean that there's not a bullet in here. So then you would pull it out, and instantly when you did that, the bullet would shoot out, and you'd know that. And then you would actually physically look to make sure nothing there. Do it, pull it, and it's now safe and uncocked, or it's not in battery or whatnot. So I could shoot with that in competitions. Zev Technologies OZ9. C, Elite. With the X-grip, the aluminum X-grip. That's another possibility. So I might just do it all, dude. Anyway. This is going on now an hour video. Do I stop here and consider this video an entire video of just bullshit about my injury, about my plans for 2025 and shooting competitions, talking about the terror attacks? Because what I also want to do is I want to go through builds, 2 different builds. You know what? I'll make 2 videos. So this is the first one, and thanks for watching. I'll be back, and we're going to go through a plate carrier, the different plates that I have, the cummerbund I'm running. I've got a push-to-talk communication system. I don't have the Velcro on and off again cummerbund. I have the first spear tubes that are just like a pull mechanism, and then they slide into a plastic sort of that's why they're called tubes, because it looks like a tube. I'll just go through the whole plate carrier, and then I'll go through the warfighter belt as well. This thing right up there, boom. That's a belt, that circular thing. And that's got the holster, some M4 AR-15 5.56 magazine pouches, actually 1, 2 pouches for a 9mm pistol, which could be any of the pistols I just showed you. I have several different holsters that are removable off of the system that I have that's permanently attached, obviously, to the side of my belt. And you could just push in on these 2 things, and you can pull the holster out. And then that holster will be compatible with different pistols. Like you have certain holsters that are compatible with only a Staccato P, or only a Zev OZ9C. However, I have a couple Safari Land holsters that are typically compatible with any sort of Glock 17 sized gun, so long as that it has the same sort of features. And it basically has a locking mechanism, or not locking, well, I guess a safety mechanism that you have to engage to get it out. It's a little thumb, little button thing that when you draw, your thumb comes in and you do that, and then you pull your pistol and shoot. And so I'll go through just the different holsters. I can run like 5 or 6 different holsters that I have. off of the same belt. And what they have are, these are like forks, right? So this fork, and by pushing it in, it sort of gets these things around from the lip that it holds onto, right? The Safari Land something, I forgot. Here is I don't know if you can see it, but here's the little lever, watch. And so when you go in, when you draw, right, you go in and your thumb pushes this down as you draw, right? So this one actually fits it fits the Surefire laser light. Or illuminator, whatnot. See, it's got sort of a square profile, and so it fits to that. Right, boom. So, and now this one only. Now I can put this. I think it's called an XVL. What is it? XVL 2 IRC. Yeah, XVL 2. That's right. IRC. Now I can put this on any one of those pistols I just showed you, except the Staccato, and then those will all be compatible with this holster. So this is basically a light compatible holster, but it's still got the basic general. It's like a bucket you basically throw your gun in, and it just basically protects the trigger. And then I have another one of these exact holsters, but with has a light profile for lights like this, like the Surefire X 300s, right? It's got a round, when you look at it, the outline is like a round thing instead of that square bottom. So again, that's the pistol that I'll be competing with all year. And I think that's what Trench Grenade, who's out there. Dude, I'm only at 81 subscribers. I think that guy has 27 or 30,000 subscribers. So, but whatever. I accept the challenge. I think that there's no better goal than to promote training and becoming more proficient with the weapon systems that you use, becoming a more proficient protector of the community, of your family, of yourself, and that's about it. So this is the end of this video. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I hope you guys are liking what I'm doing. But I'm going to now get into doing another video with. I should just do the damn thing. I'm so bad at ending videos. I feel like this is the. I'll just do it real quick. This is the CRYE Precision JPC 2.0. I've got the M4. Let's see, the M4 pouches, which are AR-15 style, for magazines. Those size magazines, 30 round, 5.56 magazines. Got a push to talk button that interfaces with a pair of Peltor Comtac 5s, right? That I built these myself. I bought the ear things myself, and then I bought on a online radio site on those apps, the shop app, and just tells you all kinds of different shit. I bought a Comtac boom mic, I think, for now the original. Like if I bought these all together, they were like $1,100, $1,200. But I bought just the ear things alone without all the wires and the communications, all the wires. There's a Y harness. There's the boom mic, right? The Peltor Comtac boom mic, the Y harness. This whole thing I think cost me $140 and then another $70 plus $600. So I did these for like about $800, maybe a little less, as opposed to $1,200, which is what they go for normally. Plugs into right here, boom. Then there's a wire that goes underneath here, and it comes out over here where I would keep my radio in a radio pouch. This plugs into a radio. Baofeng 8 something, and which are great radios to have in the event of like an electromagnetic pulse attack or whatever, when, like telephones go down. Anything with a computer chip gets fried. TVs go down. Everything goes down, right? So unless you're on like a radio airwaves, like from tower to tower, there's no communications, which make these very, very valuable in the field. A cell phone or these are like, I guess, walkie-talkies essentially, but you can reach out and talk to people across the country. And if you're training with a team, I would definitely suggest everybody building out like a comms deal. I mean, you can do the whole thing. I think I did my entire comms deal with the radio, it's the foldable antenna. There's an antenna relocation. So where this thing plugs into my radio right here, right? And then boom, and then my radio then, and then that plugs in, or that connects to my, I can't think, to a antenna relocation device. And the antenna obviously located back here. I have level 4 HESCO plates, ceramic plates. Stop pretty much every rifle round known in existence, and they other than up to like 50 cal, and these are Bees combat systems, cummerbunds. They have the first spear tubes, right? I told you how they work. You pull them in and up, and that prevents you from having to do the whole like Velcro thing every time. I have a couple little like pouches right here. These are HRT. This will hold like a tourniquet. I have another one over here. This one will hold like I make another tourniquet. You can never have too many tourniquets. This one has a little strap that prevents stuff from coming out the bottom. I like to keep I can put my cell phone in here, and it's nice to have it sort of protected. These are CRYE, so this is CRYE Precision front placard, M4 magazine front placard, a water camelback system. I don't keep the camelback in here, but I just keep the water nozzle here because I don't like having to take it off each and every time. I have the CRYE Precision extra shoulder pads, right? And I just run those. I run the ones that it came with it, and then I run a secondary. So those are the original ones are in there, right here. And then I just run these over the top, and that just gives you extra beefy like padding. Boom. These things are super soft. Okay, and then I have a CRYE Precision zip-on back panel, right? Which interfaces, I mean, they're made to be together, right? There's a zipper, two zipper like strips that go up the back of this plate carrier, and they interface, as you can see, with this zipper that goes right. This thing just zips on, and then there's two straps that are, or four straps on this backpack panel, right? That you weave in using the molly that's attached to both the back panel and the plate carrier. And so this thing is both zipped on and attached using molly webbing, nylon webbing. I think it's inch nylon webbing. Anyway, so you know, this is definitely something that you would use if you. It's not something if you know the local gangbangers come to invade your house. This would be something that you know, society, your country gets invaded by a foreign army. You have enemies coming at you, and they have some sort of group, like they're attached to some sort of group where they would be in body armor as well. You know, you don't want to be fighting people in body armor without body armor, for sure. So that's it's a CRYE Precision JPC 2.0. This one is a XL. These are 13 by 10 inch plates, big plates. Everything is CRYE zip-on back panel, CRYE shoulder pads, CRYE front M4 placard, B's combat systems, skeletonized cummerbund with the first spear tube attachment system, and that is about all there is to that. Okay. And as far as the belt is concerned, you know what? I'll do a different video. No, I'll do it now. Trying to just get this shit out of the way. I know there's things I want on this channel to be covered, and just so you guys have some sort of reference as to what what we use and whatnot. So this is the belt. It's got an internal Velcro strap that you can use as just a typical belt. Put through your belt loops on your pants, right? And then what happens is when you need this belt, your actual warfighter belt, right? This thing just Velcros on. You can just grab it and then pull it around you, and just it zips on. I mean, it Velcros on. Boom. And then you use your cobra buckle, and right, and it's on. It's attached. I've got the again an M4 rifle pouch. I guess it's a pouch. It's made by Haley Strategic. This is the Haley Strategic D3 combat belt. This is the 100 Concepts chem light holder, which is pretty cool. Holds a bunch of chem lights for whatever you might need those for, marking your, if you're fighting with a team at night, or you want to mark something. It's good to have several different chem lights in different colors, and these are color coded as far as the little things they have on the end. So in the dark you can feel them, and if you feel bumps, they're like yellow. If you feel whatever, they're green. The dump pouch is a dump pouch by T-Rex Arms. It's a nice size little pouch. These are good for, when you get done or throwing magazines in, a water bottle, whatever. I like to keep mine open for empty magazines. I just throw them in there until I'm ready to. This is a little pouch right here for a multi-tool. Again, Haley Strategic. For a multi-tool of some sort, a flashbang. This is my IFAC medical pouch. This would be would have everything from what are they called, esophageal tube that you would use to intubate somebody if you needed to get oxygen into their lungs. And let's see what else. It's got some sort of clotting agent in there. It's got glove. I mean, it's just, whatever's in the normal medical kit. Typically, you wouldn't open this thing up until you were absolutely needing it. So, I forgot who Haley partnered with to do these kits. I want to say it's God, what is it? I forgot. I'll leave it in the next video. Actually, let me just check because I don't want to do anybody dirty. Haley Strategic Medkit. Is done by SOAR. That's right. SOAR Rescue. MedMag IFAC Hemostatic. The MedMag First Line Hybrid Kit contains all the components you need to address the first few minutes of a major trauma patient in one compact spot. Let's see here. I'm not going to read all this shit. Comes with a hyphen twin chest seal, a nasopharyngeal airway, an NPA, a trauma bandage 4-inch, Celox rapid hemostatic dressing, and nitrile glove pair. And then, of course, you have, I have a couple tourniquets in case you would need those. Well, of course, those are like the most important. Then here we are, holster, right? You're talking about, this is my other holster. Same, it's a Safariland. Here's your, right? Here's your little safety thing. It'll keep your gun in the holster in case somebody came up from behind and tried to jack your gun, unless they know how to push this thing at the right time. It's a thumb thing, right? You come on, right? And then you pull your gun out. Here are two Haley Strategic magazine deals, magazine pouches. And that's my battle belt. It's not very complex. It's got the things that are important, especially a med kit, a dump pouch, very important. Extra magazines, never can have too many bullets. And that's about it. So that's it, guys. We did it all, man. We're looking at an hour and 18 minutes. We did Happy New Year's, greetings. We talked about how, again, insulting it is to have the FBI lie directly to our faces, as they've been, just giving it to those January 6th insurrectionists. They know everything about them. They're hot on their trail for 4 years. And, meanwhile, you've got ex-U.S. military personnel swearing allegiance to ISIS and then killing Americans on New Year's. But glad we found Granny that, flew our American flag outside the rotunda. Boy, those darn pesky insurrectionists. So So we covered all that. This is most of the bullshit. Some of the theories on military dudes attacking our country on the same day using the same car rental facility. Very odd. Anyway, and then we talked about my back injury, and some of this year's goals to get out and do more shooting. Definitely going to be doing a lot of like range day product sort of reviews. Shooting suppressed against steel targets is sure fun, and want to give you guys capture that on video. See the difference between like what 117 grain 9mm ammunition that travels at like 1,150 feet per second over the speed of sound, how that compares to 147 grain 9mm ammunition that travels at 900 feet a second, well under the speed of sound, and which thereby doesn't create a sonic crack or sonic boom, breaking the sound barrier. And so we're going to be doing suppressor tests and different ballistics tests. But most importantly, we're going to really stick to gun techniques, getting better, training, doing dry firing, challenging ourselves to get more proficient, faster, becoming more accurate, always focusing on gun safety, and just becoming all around better protectors of our communities, because that's what badass motherfuckers do, right? So, okay, guys, thank you. Appreciate you hanging out with me again. Take care.